Welcome, Gemini and Gemini cross watchers, to your reading for today. So I hope you guys are all doing well, and I excuse my band-aid. I cut my finger while I was organizing my spice cabinet. So we have the moon card here. Okay. We have the Fool. It feels like you're on display somehow. It's almost kind of like everything's coming up Gemini. Things actually seem to be going really well, but it feels like there's quite a bit of pressure. I'm almost getting like it's lonely at the top type vibe, in that like if one of your parents may have been like, even though you had a good life and everyone had what they needed, like they seem to be stressed out all the time. You're feeling the weight of that. It kind of feels like there's this element of, if you've seen those memes where it's like, you're trying to eat well and exercise and work and build relationships and like keep a clean home and do this and do that, and if you have children, drive them to this, drive them there, and doing all of those things and trying to fit it all within a day. It feels like it was a lot. And I want to make it clear, especially to any cross watchers, that doesn't mean that Gemini is being ungrateful. That's not at all what it feels like. It just feels like Gemini, you kind of seem to feel like it's on your shoulders to make this happen. I feel like this may not be a reading that applies to everybody, okay? I feel like this is for Geminis that are single or there for whatever reason their partner is not around. It's almost like people may call you like super mom or super dad or whatever. And you're kind of like, yeah, thanks. But it feels like it is not easy. It feels like there's been like a big life change. Like maybe you had like a niece or nephew move in with you, or you had an elderly parent move in with you, and something seems to have really added to your load, which is kind of amplifying the pressure that you would be feeling normally. And I feel like that seems to be what is bringing this to your attention now. And I feel like a big part of it is feeling like you don't have someone to share it with. It's almost this energy of like, you've kind of got all your ducks in a row and you have everything moving in the right direction. And it's almost that element of like, how on motivational things, it'll say like, if you build it, they will come, right? Like if you build yourself into the person that you want to be, and it will attract the people that you need in your life to you. And you're kind of like, okay, I've got it. I've got all the things. I've set everything up. And I feel like you're kind of looking around, and it's almost like you're just kind of, I want to say like, you're floating above the crowd, right? Like you can see everybody, you can see everything that's going on, but for whatever reason, you don't seem to be included. And it doesn't feel like it's a craving for companionship. It just feels like that's kind of the one element that, like, you've worked to build everything else, and in doing that, this may be the element that's kind of was put to the side to do what it is that you're doing, or to earn what it is that you've earned. I'm going to pull a couple of clarifiers on this Lovers card here. Can we get one? And for those of you that like your life isn't perfect. That's not just that the reading is saying your life is perfect and everything's great, but you do have, like, everything in your life is moving along smoothly. It's going in the right direction. And it may not even feel like life is perfect, but you're handling it. I feel like there's this element that you may have had a belief at one time that, like, new beginnings usually only start from heartbreak. You may have felt like there always had to be a loss in order for something new to grow. And I feel like that, like, when something leaves your life, that leaves space and then something new can enter. You seem to have gotten a lot better at dealing with that, with the ebb and flow of life, if you will. It seems to be something that's quite manageable for you. I feel like it feels like that's like a milestone for you to have developed that skill. It feels like it's something that you really take a lot of pride in, not necessarily like that makes you feel proud of yourself for what you've accomplished, not like you're running around with your chest puffed out, right? I also feel like it's something that it feels like you rose to the occasion, and it feels like you're kind of impressed with yourself. And I'm not saying that in a crappy way. Like, it feels like you're genuinely looking at your life and kind of like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And it's not like you thought you couldn't do anything or any of that stuff. It feels like you were, like, things just kind of kept coming at you and you kept filing them away and you're handling this and handling that. And you made something pretty great out of it. It's kind of like the epitome of it, I know this is super corny, but like, it's the journey, not the destination. But in that, it's like the person that you've become in order to build everything that you're building. That's where it's like you feel differently about yourself because of what you've accomplished, what you have pushed yourself to do. It's like, in changing the things around you and building things in your life that you want, you changed yourself. And that seems to be like what gives you, like, kind of seems to send a tingle down your spine. You know what I mean? Like, it's a really good feeling very competent. Yeah, but I feel like there seems to be something here about, like, not telling anybody. I feel like you may have been in a position where you had a lot before, but you told people and then things inevitably became sabotaged, if that makes sense. And I feel like you've learned this time that that's like talking to people about how great things are. And that's not to say like you're running around telling people how great you are, right? But it's more like celebrating, like, oh, this is so great. Can you believe this happened? And I feel like that's something that maybe you don't share with people as much, or at least certainly not with many people. It's almost this energy of like, you aren't just saying my results speak for themselves. You've moved into an energy where you are allowing the results in your life to speak for themselves. Not that you were doing it for acclaim or anything, but it's almost like people kind of congratulating you, whereas before it may have been like, oh, that feels really nice. I feel like it just doesn't hit the same for you anymore. It's almost like I want to say like doing a press tour, right? Like, you're shaking hands and stuff like that, and you're grateful to be in the position that you're in, but you're not doing it so people will shake your hands and say congratulations. You're doing it because it feels good, because you know what's on the other side of it. I have the 9 of Cups. I feel like for a time you felt really emotionally imbalanced, or there was somebody in your world that was very, I feel like this person, they seem to affect the foundation that you're standing on. it's almost like you built the foundation. Like, let's say there were four pillars. I feel like one of those pillars is always a little bit shaky. It's not quite firm. And I feel like it's almost like it feels like it may be a person that causes some problems. And I feel like you're staring at this person um, almost with like swords coming out of your eyes, looking at them like, get it together. um, because it could kind of go either way with this person. I feel like you do care a lot about them. Um, and I feel like you may be holding on, hope springs eternal, right? So I feel like you're holding on to this hope that something that this person will, the I wanted to say banister, but that's not right. The column, the fourth column that they are will become firm, but I feel like the longer you're in the energy that you're in where you're feeling accomplished, the more you realize that like even if they could, you wouldn't really trust it. You would want to, but it's just kind of like it feels like it's someone that you can't lean on anymore. It's almost like when you're if you have experienced your parents getting moving into old age where they need support, when you kind of step into that matriarchal or patriarchal role within your family, right? And you become that person that people look to. I feel like when that happens, when you feel like when you see that, um, it's like this energy of feeling accomplished is going to get even bigger. And it's not like, oh, Gemini's ego is getting too big. It's none of that garbage. It's more like your cup overfloweth, and in that your cup is full, and I feel like and you're able to give to people, and you seem to be really good also at like assessing if the efforts that you're putting into somebody are having like a return that would warrant more effort into that person, right? Like you don't waste time on, it's not like you're not willing to give any, people a chance, but you're able to size up pretty quickly if someone is going to be wasting your time or not. So I think I'll leave it there, Gemini. If this reading resonated, I hope it was helpful, and we will see you on the next one. Much love. Bye.